Good morning, Meteorologist Lisa Green here with an update on our first alert weather day that we have today. We're talking about conditions that are going to be, well, more on the active side here as we get into the nighttime hours for tonight. Most of the day does appear to be on the quieter side. So that's good news after we had some thunderstorms rumble through last night. We're going to check in on rainfall from that and also checking in, of course, on our next threat for severe weather. So let's take a look at the latest. I'm going to pull this up full screen and just kind of talk about what we've been seeing. So Fargo, we've got a nice view of some blue sky and some clouds drifting through. It's kind of been the case here this morning, a mix of both. And we are looking at that affecting a lot of places in the valley. In Grand Forks, I can just take a quick look here in Grand Forks. We've got some clouds passing by as well after we had a nice blue sky earlier on. And that's up at UND again, up at Grand Forks at the aerospace building there. And then back to our graphics here, we're looking at still some rain lingering, clouds and some sprinkles lingering here in the east here this afternoon, moving into this afternoon. I've got this on a 12-hour loop, so you can see that heavy rain that fell and even some thunderstorm warnings that happened overnight last night in northeastern South Dakota and southeastern North Dakota. So that added up quite a bit of rain there. And then just moving this back to a 1-hour loop, you can see the latest conditions. We've got a few clouds to the east, a little bit of some rain shower activity going on in this area as well. So you might be seeing some sprinkles in Detroit Lakes at the moment, but not serious at this point. So precip estimate, you can see where that heavy rain fell over the last 24 hours, and that's, or 12 hours rather, that's in northeastern parts of South Dakota and southeastern North Dakota. And we do have some flood warnings as a result of that. The radar estimated rainfall was about 5 inches or more in parts of northeastern South Dakota, so there's been some flood responses to that. In addition, we also, of course, have our river flood warnings going on in Clay County. We'll take a look at that in a second, but take a look at how much rain we saw. The Brampton area, this is in Sargent County. It's one of our Endon sites there, and these are all from Endon. We're looking at 2.42 inches of rain that fell, so that was a lot. And Fingal saw a little under 1.7 inches of rain. Milner just under 3/4 of an inch, and places like Lisbon got more than a ½ inch of rain. So not everybody saw this, but those that did got a good round of it here this morning. And checking in on one of those river gauges, we're now at 13 feet exactly at the south branch of the Buffalo River in Sabin, and you can see that we've been dropping from moderate flood stage. So it's nice to see that go down, and we're continuing to monitor those river levels. You can check those at valleynewslive.com right on the weather page. So let's take a look at our planner here in Fargo. We've got temperatures this morning that are in the 70s, getting into the noon hour here pretty soon. So we're in the mid 70s in Fargo at 75 degrees. Grand Forks checking in at 79, looking at 74 in Devil's Lake, and Jamestown 75, a mix of some sun and clouds. This afternoon, again, watching out for the potential by 5 o'clock. We're really going to be monitoring for the possibility for some storms to develop. It's more likely late night hours that we'll see that happen, but still we need to be aware and be ready for that development of storms. And you can see temperatures are going to be toasty, mid to upper 80s here in eastern North Dakota. And in Minnesota, looking at temperatures into the 70s as well. Detroit Lakes at 72 with some sunshine. Roseau also sunny at 77 degrees. Starting to see more wind out of the south and gusts getting into that 30-mile-per-hour range today. Highs in the east, more into the upper 70s to some low 80s in Minnesota. So that's a look at our planner for the day. We'll see that wind again on that stronger side through the afternoon hours. It does start to come down, but it's a south wind. It's warmer air moving in, and conditions that are going to get more rocky as we add more energy to the atmosphere as we head into tonight. So let's take a look at our planner here. So this morning, again, we've been watching some areas of rain moving off to the east. We are looking at clouds moving on with that too. This is 3 p.m. And then moving on into the 5 o'clock hour, you can start to see some hints at some moisture out west. And that's along the front that's going to be moving through. And we may not see any real serious development, though, until we get into the late night hours tonight. You can see some cells popping up near Lake of the Woods around 9 p.m. And then more of those expand or develop as we head into the late night hours. This is midnight tonight. You can see Thief River Falls down toward Grand Forks. Could have some supercells there, and some development also on the southern branch of this area of instability as that cold front moves through. So again, looking out for these isolated to scattered areas of thunderstorm activity, and where that develops, it could turn severe. But notice how there are lots of areas that may not see much of anything. So not a guarantee that you will get storms tonight, but the possibility is there for everyone. Now moving on and further into the morning hours, you can still see some cells that are looking rather strong even as we're starting the valley today at 4:30 tomorrow. So we'll likely be tracking at least some rain and thunder in the morning hours before that starts to move on. This is 8 a.m. and then that continues on into the next couple of hours before we get a break before the next round. So here's a look at our severe storm risk. We're under a slight risk for a good portion of the valley. Again, anywhere along the front we could see storm development, and as it moves eastward, that continues to be a concern. Once it moves farther east, the intensity of it starts to wane a bit. So that's what we're looking out for here for tonight. But just about everybody under a risk. And here's a look at our individual risks, each one of our severe weather parameters here. So we are under a risk, but it's a low risk. It's the lowest end risk for tornadoes with any storms that pop up, and especially early on in the event is when I would think that would be most likely to see some of those storms produce the potential for a tornado. And then looking at our wind threat for tonight, where a lot of us are under a threat of some sort for severe winds, and then more of an elevated risk in those areas in that general slight risk, in that 2 out of 5 risk. We're looking at 70-mile-per-hour wind gust potential. And then hail threat for tonight, elevated. And this is also, you see these black lines down the graphic here, and that is to show that not only do we have an elevated chance for hail, but that hail may be significant, and we are looking out for the possibility for some golf ball size hail with this latest round of storms tonight. And it's, again, not just today. We have more chances for severe weather heading into Friday night and early Saturday morning. It'd be more in the southern valley, so watching Lakes Country, southeastern North Dakota. And then elsewhere, the farther north you go, the less risk there will be, but still a chance for some storms even up through Highway 2 and beyond. And then Sunday looking similar, or excuse me, Saturday and into early Sunday looking similar, but more likely non-severe storms. Let's hope we can keep that with the threat for storms still in the forecast. We want them to be not severe. So here's a look at our chance for rain in the coming days. Today, again, a first alert weather day. We have our risk for storms tonight. And then you can see Friday there's a chance for storms. And then again Saturday, especially Saturday night. And then as we move into Sunday and even into Monday, we keep chances for storms around here in the forecast. So this is something we're going to have to just watch out for several days. And a lot of these may be happening in the overnight hours while we're trying to sleep. So I know I stress this a lot, but a reminder, you want to be woken up before the storm gets to you. So make sure you have a way to be alerted when a warning is issued. So, you know, your phone, your wireless emergency alerts on your phone, the VNL weather app you can set to alert you where you are. The NOAA weather radio, also a great tool to be woken up so you can get to where you need to be before the storm arrives. So again, some overnight storms for the next couple of nights, and certainly watching out for rain. You know, we're pretty saturated in some areas with the heavy rain we've gotten over recent days, and some of our river levels are high. We keep checking on those, and so we're adding more to the mix here. This is cumulative, so starting now all the way through Sunday night, here's what we could see. Some places, again, it's going to be hit and miss. Some of us get hit, some of us don't. And so right now, this particular model showing northeastern North Dakota, less likelihood of seeing heavy rain. Then other places in the south and east, more into that 1 to 2 inch range, anywhere where we have yellow on the map here through Sunday night. So another round of, couple of rounds of storms could add up to 1 inch to 2 inches of rain in some areas here. So that's a look at our rainfall potential. A big weekend coming up. It's the weekend before school starts. So if you're heading out to do some school shopping, back to school shopping here this weekend, daytime hours, for the most part, look pretty good. Morning hours, maybe a little rainier, and then into the afternoon, we kind of get that break, and then again, it's those nighttime storms. And so this is a snapshot of the afternoon when we see our warmest temperatures of the day, and you can see most of us on the dry side, just more partly cloudy, some 70s to about 80 in Fargo, and then Sunday's going to be rather cool in comparison to, you know, what we typically expect to see in mid-August is some low 70s to some upper 70s for highs on Sunday. So let's look at next week. Let's look at the school week ahead for students who are heading back. We'll pull up your 11-day in full here. Actually, we'll pull it up this way. Pull that up in full, and you can expect to see some conditions that are going to be in the rainy side at night as we take a look at our forecast. And then in addition to that, the possibility for some storms next week, maybe on Thursday, still kind of iffy on timeline, but I'm hoping that we're breaking the everyday, that cycle of every day or every night, seeing that chance for some storms into next week. And we're cooling back a little bit by the time we get into next weekend. So that's what we're looking out for here in the forecast, that potential for some rain and some thunder. And tonight, the possibility some of that turns severe, and it's going to likely be in the late night hours. So that's something we want to watch out for and be prepared for tonight on this first alert weather day. And a reminder, not everybody's going to get hit. The possibility is there for everyone, but these aren't going to be widespread everywhere like we sometimes see. So again, more active weather in the forecast coming up for tonight and through the rest of the week and into the weekend. So have a great Thursday. Have a safe night ahead, and we'll be back on a little bit later today to bring another update on our severe weather risk today.